Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? How is everyone? You know, it's so interesting. I don't know where my this is crazy. Okay, one moment. How's everyone? Go ahead. Oh, you can hear me. Someone said they can hear me. Outstanding, outstanding, outstanding. All right, so I do have a little something a little different that I'm seeing. So I'm going to need a moment to kind of sort it out. But in the meantime, how is everyone? I do want to um, say hello to my team. Hello, hello, hello. I see Mr. Sandeep is up here with me. And what I'm going to do is I got to take this off. And I got to add a new screen. So hang tight. Okay. All right. So do you see my screen? Let me know, let me know, let me know. Hello, Mr. Sandeep. He's back here with me. Ms. Mills is here. I see you, Case. I see you, Miss Beth. Yes, Miss Haley. Thank you. They said my sound is good. So my mic sounds nice. Are you all ready? You ready? Hi, Star Wars girl. And you know what? I got to shout you out, Lucky. Lucky, I laugh at your comments, even though you're probably serious as heck. But you keep me chuckling. Definitely. But if you have a specific question, contact us at amcicoding.com. Click on contact because she has some really good questions. All right. So. Hi, Patricia M. I just want to make sure I didn't forget anyone. I know I do. Kay Angelus, you're going to have to tell me again. I forgot. You told me how to pronounce your name phonetically. Hypertension reader. Hello, hello, hello. Vivian. M- my set. I know I may be saying it wrong, but I'm trying. DC Kicks, welcome back. Sweet Tanny, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, let's get started. We're at week 7. Week 7. How do you feel? You all ready? All right. So if this is your first time here, and I see a Teresa. Hello, hello, hello. Um, the purpose of this class is not to instruct, even though you're going to see a lot of instruction. Yeah, you're going to see it, but because we can't help it. But the purpose is to hold you accountable, to kind of guide you along each week. We're at week 7, so you should be somewhere around week 7 in your coursework. We want to be more accessible. So if you have questions, definitely put them in the chat. I'll try to answer them in real time. Or my team, they have my back. They'll answer your questions. And I think there's a new feature where you can at someone. So go ahead and try that feature. And team, if that is only something we can do, let me know that too. All right. Hello, Tanya. Yes, good afternoon. Hi, Brenda. So, also, we want to review what you should know, where you should be, so that you can gauge. And we want to give you tips on how to navigate your course and point out key guidelines. That's the purpose. And the announcements. We don't really have that many announcements. They're the same as the previous week. However, I do want to invite you Monday nights to the Guidelines Mastery classes with Miss Haley. Yes, she is doing it. The reviews are great and take advantage of it. Also, if you have Discord and if you are a member and you are in Discord, you can go to the I'm Tap class. That's interactive medical terminology and anatomy and physiology. I don't know if I said it in the right order, but that's what it is. Also, the MCG 2026 is only available in the ebook for now, and we'll let you know as soon as the hardback drops. Okay, So if this is your first time here and you just kind of popped in, the students here are studying for mainly the medical coding exam, and the purpose of this course is to provide instruction before the exam prep. A lot of things you're going to see, a lot of people say, hey, go here, go here, go here, but a lot of them are exam prep, and a lot of people are exam prepping without the instruction. So we're going to do both. If you want to sign up, just go to our website, www.amcicoding.com, click on YouTube course right here. And when you get on the website, complete the enrollment form and download the syllabus. And what you're going to do, follow the syllabus in order. And that's all you have to do. And on the syllabus, you're going to see these, well, basically the schedule for classes. And right now we're at week 7. So you'll click on week 7 and it will bring you here. And you're going to click on this notify me button. This is how you RSVP for class. And that's how you do it. So this is a 16-week course. We're nearing the end of the 8th week, and that means we're going to be finishing up ICD-10-CM. After beginning the 9th week, we'll be talking about CPT. Okay? So CPT will be another 8 weeks. So going back to your syllabus, you can also find the textbooks that you'll need for class, and pretty much you just need the ICD-10-CM for this class. The MCG is a book that helps you simplify guidelines. If you want it, you can get it, and it's on our website, www.amcicoding. Also, for your textbook, there is a textbook called the Bucks Step-by-Step Medical Coding Textbook. You can click there to this link on from your syllabus to get it. And there is I think this link is AMCI's specific link. That's where they've given us the discount for the most expensive book. However, if you want to save money, I recommend Amazon, and you can get a 2023 as early as 2023. Now, if you want to get your coding manuals, we are giving you our discount. The AMCI, we have a partnership with Optum, and Optum gives our students a 50% discount. So that's a great partnership. Okay. And we love their book. We reached out to them like, hey, this is the book that we're using for our CCS because it's superior. And it's superior for ICD-10-CM. All right, so also I spoke about Discord. There are some classes in there from the syllabus. The instructions are on how to join the Discord are there. And yes, there is a cost. I think the lowest is bronze, and that's $2.99 per month. So there are classes in there. There are resources in there like extra coding handouts. How many of you are getting the coding handouts from Discord? Let me know. And also, team, Ms. Mills or someone, please tell them how in the chat how they can get their handouts, their extra resources for this class. All right. Also, another resource is Vital Source. If you have the MCG manual or any ebook, any ebook, right? You can make flashcards. So simply highlight over what you want to be the question, click flashcard. When you highlight, this will automatically populate. All right, click flashcard, then you'll paste it over here. Then you highlight the answer and then you paste it on the back. And then you'll save it. And after you save it, at the top, it's going to say, hey, you want to study? Click study, and boom, there's your flashcard. So you just keep making them. I like this because you can make your own for you. Everyone learns different, so that's a great resource. All right, if you are a gold course, if you purchased the membership for a gold online course, the only difference is they have a an LMS or an online school. So everything that's on the syllabus is pretty much in their school. We've placed it here. So they don't have to look around for things. Like they don't have to go to Discord to find their homework. And in addition to that, we gave them some extra quizzes. So most of their chapters have quizzes as well. So that's just the beauty of being in a managed system. So they can access their course right. Can you access your course here? No, you can access your course right here. If you click on this a la carte course, you'll be able to access your course. That's something that I learned, Gold online course students. So definitely do it, try it out, let me know. All right, so for those of you that aren't in the course, your syllabus is exactly the same, excluding, the handouts and the quizzes. The handouts, how to get it is here. When I said, hey, can someone put it in the chat? It says, you can go to, where do you go? Oh, these are MCG. Huh. All right, where are the handouts? There's some handouts. Oh, additional exercises. It's in the Discord, but you all have to put the instructions in the chat so that they can know, but it's pretty easy to find. It does say additional exercises. Playbacks, coders, playbacks. When we say, hey, look at the playback, it's going to be in green. And it's going to look like this. After you click on that green link, you're going to see all of these playbacks, or yeah, they're essentially all playbacks. Now, I do want to tell you, I gotta be crystal clear about this. The playbacks, all of these lectures are on YouTube. So it's nothing new being in this course like, oh, we get something exclusive because it's already on YouTube. The difference is that we are kind of mapping it out for you so you don't have to go around looking for it. So that is the biggest difference. Now, if people say, hey, what about that MCDC course? Why would we pay for the MCDC course when we have all these YouTube lectures? Because they have private lectures that aren't on YouTube, and the majority of their lectures are not on YouTube, and they're more explanatory. Like we go from A to Z. Step 1, step 2, step 3. We do more of that. Okay. So that is the difference. But you can still learn. You can still pass the medical coding exams with our YouTube content. I stand by that. And I tell you, if you are taking this course in anticipation of paying for another course, I say don't. Why are you doing that? Don't do it. You can pass, and I believe this course is more comprehensive than a lot of the courses that you're getting ready to pay for. And overwhelmingly, a large number of people are in other courses watching us. If your course has it all, you don't have to be here. You should not have to be here. So that's a problem there that you need to kind of recognize. I'm not going to tell you like, oh, this course is bad, that course is not ready. I'm not doing that because I don't want anyone to do that to us. But you gotta pay attention to the behavior. If you're in another course and you're here, that is a problem. I wish you can get your money back. Just saying. Anyway, the playbacks are here. Playbacks for this class. See these blue and purple? That's where they are. So if you want to watch them, they are placed where they should be in your playlist. Now, that was a longer intro than I usually do, so I do apologize for that. I will not do that next week. And we're going to get started, and we're going to talk about week 7. What you should already know before class, and if you don't, it's okay because I'm going to do my best to break it down. I'm not going to cheat the people that have done the work. No, but I'm going to try and find some balance. All right, so you should already know specific coding guidelines for pregnancy, perinatal, and congenital anomalies. You should. If you don't, then after, make sure that you do. Also, you need to remember that you have to apply general coding guidelines. Now, remember, um, the specific coding guidelines will take precedence over the general, but we cannot forget the general. If there's no guideline, the general is going to take precedence. Okay. Also, you should know how to um, reference your guidelines from the MCG and the ICD-10-CM manuals. And I'm going to ask, I don't know if someone's helping Joey. Can someone help Joey in the chat? I think you are. I do. I do. All right. Good job. All right. So now it's time to test your knowledge. And typically we do that by providing true or false questions. Are you all ready? Let's go. All right, everybody, put your answers in the chat, true or false. A patient who is currently pregnant is seen for an acute condition that does not impact the pregnancy. The acute condition should be sequenced first, followed by a pregnancy code or an O code or a pregnancy related code, like a not an O code or a Z code. It could be a Z code. So, but first, that acute condition should be sequenced first. True or false? What say you? Go ahead, put your answers in the chat. Okay, the answer is true. It is true. And we're going to talk more about it so I don't have to explain it, but just kind of make a little note. Say, I didn't get number one right. And it was about acute conditions. All right, true or false number two. Codes from chapter 15, pregnancy, childbirth, and the puerperium may be used on the newborn record when a condition is related to maternal complications. True or false? What say you? That's right, Miss Haley. We have awesome participation. We do. And I'm going to shout anybody out who answered it because I want you to just do it. Go with your first thought. All right? And you're going to get high praises from me. So I'm shouting you out. Sweet Tanny. I'm going to start calling you Sweet Tea because I'm not sure. Delicia, Amazing Live, DC Kicks, Miss Brenda, Patricia, C Primo, Hot Tub Home, Lucky, Lovely. If I missed you, I apologize. Melissa, I see you. And they all said, well, a lot of them said false, but they all answered. And remember that if you got it incorrect, just remember that chapter 15 codes sequenced on a newborn record. Write that down. And you don't do it, it's false. And we're going to explain why in a moment. If a provider documents pre-existing hypertension complicating pregnancy, the coder should assign a code from category O10 first, followed by a code for the specific type of hypertension. Now, coders, you should not know this off the top of your head. You shouldn't. So just put whatever comes to your mind, and trust me, you're going to learn it today. Like who knows codes like that? Some people do, but most do not. I do not. I mean, I do know this because I studied it over and over, but generally, I don't know the guidelines surrounding codes, specific like something like this. This is not typical. Go ahead, put your answers in the chat. Good job, good job. That's right, Mr. Sandeep. You got this. The answer is false. So we're going to learn why momentarily. All right, true or false? When a delivery occurs during an admission, an outcome of delivery code from category Z37 must be assigned on the maternal record for that admission. True or false? What say you? And this is something you should remember, and you will know it by the end of this session. I'm going to do everything I can. Just know. Okay, the answer is true. It is true. All right. True or false? If multiple conditions prompted the admission, sequence the most related to the delivery as the principal diagnosis. In other words, if a patient is pregnant and they have multiple pregnancy related conditions and then they deliver, you're going to have to choose one as first listed. So this says you have to sequence the condition most related to the delivery as the principal diagnosis, true or false. All right. I see a few in there. I'm going to wait for a few more. All right. All right. All right. And the answer is true. Way to go. Way to go. Way to go. Way to go. All right. If a patient has pregnancy related complications, however, the delivery is normal, you can assign O80. True or false? What say you? Okay, I see them coming through now. Coming through now. We're mixed. We're mixed on that. The answer is false. And I'm going to explain why shortly. All right, if a newborn is born with respiratory distress due to maternal diabetes, the coder may assign a Chapter 15 pregnancy complication code on the newborn record to reflect the maternal condition, true or false. Wow, you guys are coming through. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Good job, good job, good job, everyone. Hi, Kenyo. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Yvonne. The answer is false. We're going to talk about it. Number 8. A patient is seen for a congenital ventricular septal defect that has been present since birth and is still being monitored. Because the patient is now an adult, the condition should be coded from the circulatory chapter, that's chapter 9, instead of chapter 17. True or false? What say you? And if you answer early, and you want to specify why you have that answer, and your specification should always be, or your reason should always be a guideline, because really that's what I'm honing in on here. So you don't see me looking up codes or showing you how to do some things that you probably have already learned or should have learned, because this is an advanced study. It is. So if you're brand new to coding, this is advanced. I do not want to scare you at all. So if you're brand new, definitely follow your syllabus and do the introductory classes first, and you'll kind of get up to this place very soon. All right, the answer is false. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't worry about it. We're going to talk about it. All right. So if you want to know how to reference these guidelines, just go to your MCG, right? If you have the MCG in the table of contents on the side, click on the chapter. So if you want to see the guidelines for pregnancy, click on pregnancy, childbirth, and the puerperium, and all of the FTRs will populate. Okay. And basically, you have to scan the FTR to figure out, okay, which one is applicable. All right. Now it's time for some scenarios. You all ready? That's right. Miss Haley said we love guidelines. We do. Before we get to the scenarios, I just want to tell you that we're going to talk about chapters 15, 16, and 17. And I want to give you some gems. And we'll start with chapter 15. This is the chapter for pregnancy complications. I'm going to let that marinate. Pregnancy complications. So if there are conditions that are complicating the pregnancy or coexist during the pregnancy, it's considered a complication. However, if it coexists, it must affect the pregnancy. So we're going to talk about that. But some codes that you should recognize on site, recognize 080. 080 is a normal delivery. This and 082, I believe, are two of the only conditions and it's not even a condition, I think, all the two codes that are not complications because this says normal, normal, these O codes. And I'm talking about chapter 15 specifically. You should also know the outcome of delivery, the Z37. This talks about what type of delivery it was. Is it a vaginal delivery or cesarean section? And this should be on delivery codes. Your Z3A, we know these are weeks gestation. And here's one I just kind of threw in there, but I want you to know when you see a 009, that means high risk, high risk. And a patient who is 35 years and older are high risk, according to ICD-10-CM. And you might get a question about that. Okay? Just thought I would tell you about that. So that's the gem that I want to give you about chapter 15. Now, perinatal, I want you to know that Z38 is your live born code. Now, this Z38 describes how the infant was born, and where they were born. Were you born in the hospital or how many infants? Were there twins, etc.? So information about the infant. And this Z38 is a principal listed code, meaning this is a Z code that can be listed first, and it's a Z code that should be listed first at the time of birth. So when I'm saying time of birth, on the record, the birth record, wherever that baby was born, that Z38 should be on it and it should be listed first. And so that is what you should know on site. Z38, it's an infant code. Don't put it on the mother's record. All right. And finally, chapter 17. This is congenital anomalies. And I was having a discussion with chat, as I always do. And I'm like, hey, I want to simplify congenital anomalies. Can I just say that these are defects that occur during the, are these like genetic? And he was like, no, they have to be present at birth. So defects that are present at birth, that is how you say it. But I'm going to tell you, all of these are just saying, I'm going to say that. Present at birth. All right. So common, or is this VSD, heart defects, um, tubal, they call these tubal defects. So I guess neurotubal. So involving the spine and the brain, like spina bifida. Also, there are orofacial defects like cleft, excuse me, cleft lip, cleft palate, which you can't see. It's at the palate, or the patient can have both. Also, chromosome abnormalities such as Down syndrome, and finally, musculoskeletal defects like a club foot, or if someone is polydactyl, as this patient is, they have multiple digits. So these are examples of chromosomal defects and anomalies. So that's chapter 17. And the only thing that you need to know is just recognize this Q. If the code begins with a Q, then it's a congenital anomaly. So I apologize for saying chromosomal anomalies, congenital anomalies. And that's it. So those are my on-site gems. Now let's go ahead and let's challenge. Okay, coders! Of the following answers, which best describes the encounter? A. K35.80, O26.892, B. O26.892, K35.80, C. O99.612, K35.80, D. K35.80, Z33.1, and Z3A.24. A patient at 24 weeks gestation is admitted for acute appendicitis. The appendicitis is not documented as affecting the pregnancy. The patient is treated with antibiotics and discharged. Okay, coders, what say you? Is it A, acute appendicitis, and other specified pregnancy-related condition in the second trimester? Or is it B, other specified pregnancy-related condition in the second trimester and acute appendicitis? Or C, digestive system disease complicating pregnancy in the second trimester and acute appendicitis? Or D, acute appendicitis, pregnancy state incidental, and weeks gestation, 24 weeks? Is it A, B, C, or D? What say you? Okay. I was just talking away. Maybe you shouldn't have heard what I said. I was just saying, hey, I want a few more people to answer, and you all have done it. Good job, good job. So if a couple more people can answer, that would be good, because for the number of people that are here, I don't think I'm being fair. I'm not giving enough time. But I do want you to know the answers are there. And if you don't know which one is correct, you will need to reference your guideline. Definitely. Most of these scenarios require guideline referencing. Most of them. All right. Now I'm going to go. That's right, Ms. Haley. They are flying in. And inventory. My inventory, if this is your first time here, I am just sequencing the diagnoses, not sequencing, I'm writing down the diagnoses, signs and symptoms, treatment, and procedures. So in this case, because it is pregnancy, the 24 weeks gestation and acute appendicitis, and the doctor said appendicitis is not affecting the pregnancy, not affecting the pregnancy, and the patient's treated with antibiotics. Now, why, Mrs. J, did you write it's not affecting the pregnancy? Because pregnancy complication codes affect the pregnancy. Again, if you're going to use a pregnancy complication or an O code other than 080 and 0802, that condition must be affecting the pregnancy. So right there, that code tells you that documentation says it doesn't affect the pregnancy. So let's go ahead and let's look at the guideline. What do we do? So I'm going to reference guideline IC 15A1, and it's basically telling you the general rules for sequencing priority. In other words, when you have pregnancy that is incidental to the encounter, in other words, it's not affecting the condition or that diagnosis, that reason for the encounter is not affecting the pregnancy, then that means that the pregnancy is incidental to the encounter. So anytime it's not affecting the pregnancy, it's incidental. So here are some gems that I want to make you aware of. O codes are pregnancy complication codes. And incidental to pregnancy means that the reason for the encounter is something other than pregnancy related, and it does not complicate the pregnancy, right? So you got to say, what is the pregnancy related complication? Well, we already established there is none. So if there's no pregnancy related complication, you should not be assigning any O codes. So 099.612, that's digestive system complicating pregnancy. We're going to get rid of B, other specified pregnancy-related condition. And we're also going to get rid of A, other specified related condition. And we're going to choose D, K35.80. That's your acute appendicitis. Also, we're going to sequence Z33.1. This is the code for pregnant state incidental. They just happen to be pregnant. And we're going to sequence the week's gestation, Z3A.24. And the answer is D. And if you said D, way to go. If you learned something, just say, aha, aha. Outstanding to you both. All right, ready for the next one? You can do it. So let's do it. All right, which best describes the encounter? And this was one of our true false questions, and we're kind of, you'll see that. A, I-10 and O12.012. B, O10.012. C, O10.012, and I-10, and D, O13.2. A pregnant patient at 18 weeks gestation has documented pre-existing essential hypertension complicating pregnancy. All right, coders, what say you? Is it A, hypertension and pre-existing essential hypertension second trimester? B, pre-existing hypertension complicating pregnancy second trimester? Or C, pre-existing hypertension complicating pregnancy second trimester and essential hypertension? And D, gestational hypertension second trimester. What say you? Okay, coders, how you feeling? Okay, I'm about to get stung. Everybody's saying the same thing. And Miss Beth said, y'all are rocking it. You are. Okay, I like that. Someone gave me some rationale. I love it. I love it because it helps me gauge where you are, and I like how you're thinking. advanced level. All right. Okay, I'm going to move along. Okay. All right. So in my inventory, I just have a couple of things. This patient is 18 weeks gestation and they have pre-existing essential hypertension. All right. Can we eliminate anything? Right? Can we eliminate anything? Yeah, we can eliminate gestational hypertension because gestational hypertension is a pre different type of hypertension than pre-existing. Pre-existing means that this hypertension existed prior to the pregnancy. Gestational means that the pregnancy either caused it or it's related to the hypertension. So we have pre-existing, it's documented, so we're going to get rid of gestational. Now I need a guideline. I do. You always should reference a guideline. Never, if you don't know it, then it's okay to kind of reference it really quickly. So I didn't really know it. So I went in there and I referenced it and I went to the MCG manual. I went to pre-exist in chapter 15, and this is IC15D, pre-existing hypertension in pregnancy. That's spot on. I need that one. So I just went over to the third column and it says sequence first O10 from the O10 category. Do not assign I10. Straight point blank. It says do not assign it. If you read this, it tells you do not assign I10 or anything in that area. Okay. All right. So we're going to get rid of A because it's sequencing I10. We're going to get rid of C, it's sequencing I10, and B is our answer. But as I read this, right? So if people have other conditions, not necessarily this essential I10 hypertension. If you have a more specific type of hypertension, let's say you have hypertensive heart, hypertensive kidney, and hypertensive both, heart and kidney, all three, then you use those codes, but you do not use I10. I10 is inherent and bundled into the code. So it's presumed. Whoa, I taught this yesterday, and this was a big thing that I did not really emphasize. So we had a few students there yesterday. I'm going to make sure that they see this, but just thought I would bring that to your attention. No, 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 no. You know what? Someone's down on us. No, I would have done that too. I would have done that too. If I'd have looked at this, I would say, oh, okay, this is how it's done. But, you really, sharpened and made me say, hey, I need to explain this better. All right, so definitely be forensic. Don't code a condition additionally if it's already mentioned in the code and it is integral. O10, that's general or basic, hypertension. All right. So hopefully we had an aha moment for some. Outstanding. All right, let's try another one. Of the following answers, which best describes the encounter? A, 080 Z3A.39, B, 082 Z37.0, C, 080 Z37.0, Z3A.39, and D, Z37.0. A 24-year-old patient is admitted at 39 weeks gestation in active labor with no antepartum complications documented. She delivers a single live-born infant via spontaneous vaginal delivery without complications during labor or postpartum. Both mother and infant are stable at discharge. What say you? Is it A, full term uncomplicated delivery, 39 weeks gestation, B, full term uncomplicated C-section, single live birth, C, full term uncomplicated delivery, single live birth, 39 weeks gestation, or D, single live birth? What say you? Go ahead, type your answers in the chat. Okay, so I see a little bit of everything, but majority of you said C, so let's see. All right, so my inventory. This is a 39 weeks gestation, vaginal delivery without complications. That's basically all I got. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this guideline. When you have a full term, uncomplicated delivery guideline, IC15N1, you need to do the following. Sequence first, 080, your normal delivery. Next, your single live birth. And then finally, your week's gestation. And I'm looking at what's following that metric. C. C is doing it. If it's a normal delivery, uncomplicated, right? Normal, uncomplicated. If it's vaginal, it's normal, uncomplicated, unless it says it's complicated. So C is actually following, the pattern here. And a normal live birth or delivery is going to be 080 for vaginal or 082 for C-section. So C is your answer because it's following it. We got a normal delivery, the outcome of delivery, as well as the week's gestation. So that's the answer. Way to go, way to go, way to go, everybody. Way to go. So if you kind of got it wrong, just make sure you go and reference your guidelines and just kind of read over them. And that's going to help a whole lot. Okay, we got another one. Let's go. Of the following answers, which best describes the encounter? A. 080, Z3 7.0, Z3 8.39, B. 082, Z3 7.0, Z3 8.39, C. 082, Z3 8.00, Z3 7.0, Z3 8.39, and D. 034.2, Z3 7.0, Z3 8.39. A 32-year-old patient with 39 weeks gestation is admitted for a scheduled repeat C-section due to a history of a prior C-section. There are no antepartum or intrapartum conditions documented during this pregnancy. A healthy single live-born infant is delivered via repeat low transverse C-section, without complications. So I kind of repeated myself. What say you? Okay. 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 All right. You all are rocking. Okay, so the inventory, we have a 39 weeks gestation. The patient is having a repeat C-section. So no complications or anything, but they just had it previously, so they're going to have it again. And that's what I'm documenting. So I'm going to go and look at the same guideline. It says that you're going to sequence first your normal delivery, followed by your live birth and gestation code. Now, somebody asked, hey, why do I have to assign Z3 7.0? Because it's a guideline. The guideline says you must, and I'm not prepared to talk about it, but there is a guideline for outcome of delivery. So you'll need to go to the outcome of delivery and guideline, and it says that you have to sequence it. All right. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. This is the metric we're going to follow. We're going to get rid of A because this is the code for normal vaginal delivery. We have a C-section. We're also going to get rid of D because it's sequencing maternal care for uterine scar. That's not what occurred. We had a C-section. There's no mention that the encounter is for treatment or care for that uterine scar, so we're going to get rid of it. And I want to point out this guideline. Well, this is a gem. And this gem is 080 is used for normal vaginal delivery, and 082 is a normal C-section. So just make yourself aware of that. And do not use 080 with any other O code in Chapter 15. This should say 0822. So don't use them with any other complication code in Chapter 15. Unless there's a complication. If there's a complication, you wouldn't be assigning 080. All right, so we're going to get rid of any 080s because we are coding for a C-section. And what's the difference between B and C? The difference, C is coding for this Z38, and the Z38 is an infant code. It's a newborn code. It's a single live born code, and the guidelines tell you, IC 15A2, that you never use an infant code on the maternal record and vice versa. Never use an infant code on the mother's record, and never use a mother's code, a Chapter 15 code on the infant's record. So C is incorrect, and B, that's our answer. How you doing, coders? How are you doing? That's right, Miss Haley. They killed it. You all killed it. Sorry I'm moving a little faster because we got more content. Okay. So I want to make sure you get it in, and you can always watch this playback. And don't hesitate to put your questions in the chat. I'm going to scroll a little bit. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. All right. Here we go. Number 5. Of the following answers, which best describes the encounter? A, 080, 024.419, 014.13, Z3A.36. B, 014.13, 024.419, Z3A.36. C, 080, 024.419, Z3A.36. D, 014.13, Z3A.36. A patient is admitted at 36 weeks gestation for gestational diabetes and severe preeclampsia. The provider documents that the delivery was performed due to worsening preeclampsia. Okay, coders, what is the answer? A, gestational diabetes unspecified, severe preeclampsia. B, severe preeclampsia or gestational diabetes. C, gestational diabetes, unspecified control, normal delivery, gestational diabetes at 36 weeks gestation. Or D, severe preeclampsia and gestational diabetes, and 36 weeks gestation. What say you? Is it A, B, C, or D? Great chart. Are you, that's not one of our questions. I would love to have done that. You know what? This is a prime example. If you have a question before class, I would have been very, I would have been very happy to demonstrate that one. But I think that would be more in last week's session. That's a great one. Hi, Nisa. Welcome, welcome. So if you can try and make the questions kind of pertinent to the subject. So if you know next week we're talking about chapters 19, 20, 21, have your questions, and if you get them in early enough, heck yeah. Very, very happy to do it. All right. So let's go ahead and inventory. I'm going to inventory that this patient is 36 weeks gestation. The patient has gestational diabetes. I apologize. And they also have severe preeclampsia. So what's going on here? Which guideline do I use? Well, this patient delivered and they have multiple pregnancy related complications. So I'm going to go look for that guideline. I'm going to go to when multiple conditions prompted the admission. And you know what? I don't see the guideline number. So I'm going to ask my team to open up the MCG and tell me, but I think uh, it is. I already have it. I apologize. But it's IC15B4. When you, oh no, it isn't. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah, it is. It's IC15B4. Yes, I15B4. When you have multiple conditions that prompted the admission. So it could have been gestational diabetes or severe preeclampsia, but it says that the delivery was due to the worsening preeclampsia. So whenever that occurs, when you have multiple, the condition most related to the delivery will be principal. The condition most related to the delivery will be principal. So which of the two is most related to the delivery? Well, the documentation says that the delivery was performed due to the worsening preeclampsia. So the preeclampsia should be sequenced first. All right. So we're going to get rid of A because it's saying, hey, this is a normal delivery. You can't have an O80 with any other O code. So that's wrong on site. Okay. C as well. You can't have an O80 with any other O code. Gotta go. Because that's normal. This is not a normal delivery. Now, something else I want to bring to your attention, whenever you're looking at the guidelines, yeah, nailing that first listed is important, but let's read the rest. It says second, sequence delivery related complications, and then third, sequence other conditions affecting the pregnancy. And then it says fourth, weeks gestation, fifth, the outcome of delivery. These two, you can sequence them fourth or fifth. I like to sequence weeks gestation last. So, but other conditions affecting the pregnancy. So you sequence everything, all applicable O codes. And B is sequencing the gestational diabetes second, as well as the weeks gestation. And D, it's not even sequencing that um, diabetes. So there you go. No, it's not. Is it sequencing? Yeah, it's not sequencing the diabetes. So the answer is B. And I'm looking at all of you all. That's right. Amazing. Wonderful. And I see them light bulbs too going off. So the answer is B. So just remember, I keep saying this. You may not assign the O code 080 with any other O code because 080 says there are no complications. Did I drive that? Let me know. I know I'm repeating myself. That's on purpose. Let me know if I've driven it home. Or if it's repetitive, say that too. It's repetitive for me, but maybe not for some. All right. All right. So, chapter 16, we got a perinatal. Oh, we're after 1 o'clock. If you have to excuse yourself, go ahead. I'm going to continue if that's okay. I have two more and I have a pop quiz. It's going to be quick. All right. Of the following answers, which best describes the encounter? Now we're in the perinatal, chapter 15. These are diseases during the perinatal period. A, Z38.00, B, Z38.00, and Z00.110, C, Z38.00, Z00.111, and D, Z00.110. A full term male infant is delivered vaginally in the hospital. The newborn is healthy at birth with APGAR scores of 9 and 9. After birth, the infant is transferred to the well baby nursery, excuse me, and examined by the pediatrician who documents a routine newborn examination with no complications. Okay, coders, is it A, single live born, vaginal delivery in the hospital? Is it B, single live born, vaginal delivery in the hospital for a newborn exam less than 8 days? C, single live born, vaginal delivery in the hospital, newborn exam for more than 8 days? Or D, newborn exam less than 8 days? What say you? Okay, okay, okay. All right. Great job. I see a lot of answers. I don't know what the answer is. I don't really remember. All right, so inventory. We have a full term infant, vaginal delivery hospital, a healthy infant, and a newborn exam took place. So I got a gem, and this gem is when you see a newborn delivered, pay attention to the type of delivery and the location of the delivery. Just lock in on that. All right, what's the type? What's the location? Because not all infants are born in the hospital. No, at home, cabs, anywhere. All right, so I do need to reference a guideline. There is a guideline, and this is a general perinatal rule, principal diagnosis for the birth record. That Z380 is a first listed code. It's a Z code that can be listed first, and there is a rule. You have to assign a code from the Z38 category to place to the, to represent the place of birth and the delivery as principal. And this has to be at the time of birth or on that birth record, on the record of the hospital or the hospital that is processing that birth. Okay, so that first record, the Z38, must be sequenced first. So let's see what's not sequencing first. Well, D isn't. So it's got to go. That is a flat out rule. It's a flat out rule. Even though the newborn exam is the reason that the doctor saw this patient, but the patient was seen in the hospital where he was born. So therefore, on that birth record, you have to sequence Z38 first. And this is an example where these guidelines, these specific coding guidelines, will take precedence over the reason for the encounter. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of D. We're also going to get rid of A because it's coding only for the single live born. So let's go ahead and look at the code. What is Z38? Essentially, this is the type of birth and the type of delivery. It doesn't really detail what took place. It's almost informational, almost. So it's not necessarily a code that's going to really describe the reason for the encounter for that physician. But if you go ahead and look up Z00.110 and 111, this is the health exam for a newborn. That's exactly what took place. So we're going to get rid of A because it's not telling what happened, which was the exam. And that leaves us with B and C. And the difference between B and C is Z00.110 and 111. One code is for an infant less than 8 days, one is for greater. I'm going to just assume that they didn't wait 8 days because that baby's going to be discharged anyway. It appears, according to the documentation, that the baby was transferred and to the nursery and examined by the pediatrician at that time. This was a brand spanking newborn, and they are indeed less than 8 days. That's a good assumption. So the answer is B. You don't often hear me say, yeah, it's good to assume or assume anything. I typically don't, but that's a good assumption. All right, so remember, Principal Diagnosis Guidelines Z38.00, the single live born code, that is a first listed code. It must be listed first on the newborn first record, where the newborn was processed, where the newborn was born. Okay, I know I drove that in. All right, so let's go ahead. We got another scenario. Of the following answers, which best describes the encounter at Hospital B? All right, A, Z38.00, Z38.00, and P22.0, C, P22.0, and D, P22.0 and Z3800. Man, I see some answers coming in. Good job. A full-term infant is delivered vaginally in Hospital A without complications. 2 hours after birth, the newborn develops respiratory distress and is transferred to Hospital B for higher level neonatal care. At Hospital B, the neonatologist documents evaluation and treatment for respiratory distress syndrome. Okay, coders, is it A, single live born vaginal delivery, B, single live born vaginal delivery and RDS newborn, C, RDS newborn, D, RDS newborn, or single live born hospital vaginal delivery? What say you? Go ahead, put your answers in the chat. Okay, someone said B, 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 B. Okay, I see B's, C's, D's. I love it. I love it. A, we're going to have some aha moments. They all can't be right, right? Good job, good job, good job. All right, inventory. We know this is a full-term infant, right? Number two, this patient did have a vaginal delivery at Hospital A. The patient was sent over to Hospital B. Well, the patient developed RSD 2 hours later, and they were transferred to Hospital B. So I need to reference that same guideline. The principal diagnosis for a birth record, that Z38. Like, when can you use it? When can you not? And essentially, can I use it for hospital B? That's what I need to know. And I'm going to go over here and just look at these abbreviated guidelines. And it says right here, for infants transferred after birth to another facility, the facility the infant is transferred to may not use Z38 because Z38 should only be used on the newborn record and never on, well, okay, and it should never be on the mother's record, but it should only be used on the newborn. I'm sorry, this is not because, so I'm kind of running it in. I'm going to tell you why it should not be on used for hospital B, because hospital A is the birth hospital. It is the hospital. That's where the newborn record is. It is the hospital where that newborn was processed. So that's what they mean. So that initial hospital, that's your newborn hospital, and that Z38 only goes on that record and that record only. So we're going to get rid of A because we should not even be using Z38.00 for hospital B. We're going to get rid of B because Z3800 is also being sequenced for hospital B. We're also going to get rid of D. They're using Z38.00, and the answer is C. Yes, they would only bill P22.0 RSD newborn. And the GEM, the hospital associated with the patient's birth, keyword birth, uses Z38.00. All right, so Miss Beth asked, did the explanation help? I want to know. Good job. Someone said, aha. I love those aha moments. If you got it correct, outstanding. Outstanding. Someone said they got the toddler in hand. That's okay. These are great moments. They're gonna be coding pretty soon. All right, good. I'm glad the explanation helped. We have one more scenario. Let's review. Now, this is congenital anomalies, and these occur or observed at the time of birth. So these are conditions that they can observe at the time of birth. All right, so of the following answers, which best describes the encounter? A, Q21.0 congenital VSD. B, I51.0 congenital septal defect acquired. C, Q21.0 and R06.02 congenital VSD and shortness of breath. And D, Z87.74 history of congenital heart malfunction. A 32-year-old male presents to his primary care physician for evaluation of worsening shortness of breath on exertion. The provider documents a congenital ventricular septal defect that has been present since birth and confirms it remains unrepaired. No new cardiac conditions are identified. Okay, coders, what say you? Go ahead, put your answers in the chat. Is it A, congenital VSD, B, congenital septal defect acquired, C, congenital VSD, shortness of breath, D, history of congenital heart malformation? Okay, so I want to further clarify the definition of congenital because I didn't like how I was saying it and I wasn't saying it correctly. Congenital means that it is present at the time of birth, not necessarily observed. Keyword present at the time of birth. So that's what that is the formal definition and it is applicable. Good job. All of those great answers in the chat. Okay, so here is my inventory. This patient has shortness of breath that is worsening. Also, they've been diagnosed with congenital ventricular septal defect. And you might want to say that it was present at birth because that'll help you. And also, it's not repaired. That would also help you, but you really just need these two. So I'm going to get rid of shortness of breath because shortness of breath is related to that congenital ventricular septal defect, right? It's related. So we're going to get rid of it. And we're going to code for the congenital ventricular septal defect, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and get rid of C because it's coding for both. And now I'm going to go find a guideline to help me, a Chapter 17 guideline that says use of the congenital codes, those Q codes. It says, hey, you can use these throughout the life of the patient. And if the condition has been treated and it no longer exists, then you can use a history code, a personal history code. But you can use these Q codes throughout the life of the patient. So I'm going to get rid of this history of congenital heart defect. And also, these personal history codes should only be used when the condition has been totally repaired, and that's any time. So this patient clearly still has this heart defect. All right. So someone said they're confused. Say why you're confused, okay? All right. So I looked up this Q21 code because I wasn't sure. Do I use Q21 or I5 1.0? I don't know what to do. So when I looked up Q21, congenital malformations of the cardiac septa, which is really spot on, it said it excludes acquired cardiac septal defect, I5 1.0. In other words, if the patient has this congenital condition, and in our case, ventricular septal defect, do not use I5 1.0. There's your guidance. That excludes one notes tells you that I5 1.0 is incorrect and the correct code is Q21.0. Q21.0. So the answer is A. Good job. Somebody said it was an awesome explanation. Now, if someone's saying, "Hey, I'm confused," don't just put that in the chat because we want to help you. We want to know why you're confused. So specify why we can help you. Definitely. Definitely. We got you. We got you, right? Okay. So generally, codes from Chapter 17 are used for the life of the patient as long as that condition exists. As long as it exists, you can use it. Okay, so I got a pop quiz, and I apologize for going over. I tend to do that. This is not for skin and COPD and whatever. This is for Chapter 15. I did come up with this, just came up, so I might need your help with the guideline numbers. All right, true or false? If a pregnant patient is admitted for treatment of a wrist fracture at 24 weeks gestation, the wrist fracture code is sequenced first because it is the condition requiring treatment. True or false? What say you? Look at Miss Brenda. Ah, come on. I need you all to be that. I need you all to kind of move fast because we did go over some of these, and I just want you to feel confident that you know it because you do. You do. You do. You do. Good job. Good job. Good job. The answer is true. It is true. We just went over guideline C15A1. If the reason for the encounter is not related to the pregnancy, you definitely code the reason for the encounter. That's chapter 15 guideline. Okay, next question. Code 080 can never be assigned at delivery if a patient has had a pregnancy related complication, even if that complication no longer exists. True or false? What say you, coders? What say you? And there's a reason why I gave you this question, because I knew that I might not have explained it thoroughly, and I want to make sure that I do. And the answer is false. It's false. If that complication is gone at the time of delivery and they no longer have it and you cannot assign an O code for it, you can use 080. Yeah, it's at the time of delivery if the patient has complications. So hopefully that makes sense. This is guideline C15N1. Now, next question, true or false? Outcome of delivery code series Z37.0 should appear on the infant's record after a delivery has occurred. True or false? We're going to take that series out of there. Yeah, I came up with this morning. I said, let me give them some pop quiz questions. So that's why you see the little, um, you know, little stuff. But I think I want to drive home some of these guidelines. You guys are going to be amazing. Okay, good job getting that question in. VR V Rossio. Good job. Good job, Patricia M. Good job, Kenyo. Good job, Melissa, getting those questions in. Or, yeah, your answers in. And the answer is false. This Z3 7.0 is the mother's record. It's the outcome of delivery. Just make yourself aware. I know that Z3 8.00 confuses you because Z3 8 is for the baby, Z3 7 is for the mom, and that's guideline C15A1. Okay? All right, we're moving on. If a patient has multiple pregnancy related complications at the time of delivery, you only code the condition most related to the delivery. True or false? What say you? Oh, wow. Yeah, this was a little wasn't as straightforward, but come on, answer those questions. What say you? All right, the answer is false. No, you code every single pregnancy related complication. You only sequence the one most related to the delivery first, but code all pregnancy related complications. That's guideline C15B4. Good job, good job, good job. All right, when a patient is HIV positive and pregnant, coders must code all encounters sequencing the HIV first. So when a patient's HIV positive and they're pregnant, coders must code all of their encounters sequencing the HIV code first. So that's from chapter 1. True or false? What say you? This is the last question. And the answer is false. No, we have an O code for it. All right. Yeah. So C15F, chapter 15. Great job. Great job. So if you got some answers correct, that's outstanding. Even if you got one, that's outstanding. But coders, if you learned something, that is priceless. That's because you learned it. It sticks. And if we had another quiz, you would have gotten more correct. So I just want to let you know what you need to do for next class. Just go ahead and try to complete everything in week 8. Just try, okay? It's not as much, but complete all of it. If you have the LMS, go ahead and complete all of those steps before class next week. And I got some final tips. Remember that this class is not for instruction, but augmentation. So if you're saying, hey, Mrs. J isn't really working out those scenarios, that's why we need to have advanced conversations. Also, don't forget the Monday night guideline class with Miss Haley. She's going to be talking about chapters 19 through 22, and that's next week. So you're going to have a command of the guidelines before you come into class. Never, ever use an encoder, including ChatGPT. Don't look up your answers that way until after you're certified. Trust me, that's how you'll become proficient. That is how you'll become mastery level. All right. Remember, 2026 guidelines will take precedence over 2025. So if you see something that we did and it may have been outdated and you want to question, is this correct? Let us know. And then just trust your instinct. 2026 is going to take precedence. If you've got the AAPC Practicode, if you've purchased it, I know you have time constraints on that. So if you can purchase it later, do it after you pass your medical coding exams, the certification exams. You don't want to do them simultaneously because it could really, kind of confuse you. It could. Real world coding is different than for the exam. Okay, so I just want to thank you all for staying 30 minutes late. I'm going to try very hard next week not to do that. Please take the time to fill out that survey. Some of you may have had some questions. Somebody say, hey, I'm confused. Put it right there in that survey if you need to. And I just want to thank my team. Thank you, team. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep. Mr. Sandeep is back here helping me out and shouting you out. I see Miss Haley, Ms. Meals, Miss Haley, Miss Meals. I saw Case in here, our intern. I saw Miss Beth in here, our other intern, our Star Wars girl. And she said, hit the like button. That's right, down below. If you go to the video on YouTube, can you like this up? Thank you, Miss Star Wars girl. Hi, Nina. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Miss Lucky. Don't forget, if you have a question for me, put it in on the survey. And who else we got? I just want to say, everyone, Sarah, and all of you, thank you. And have a wonderful, wonderful day.
4,000 exam passers and free classes at AMCI. Learn to code straight from home or on the road at AMCI.